No matter your industry or workplace, there is always the chance of being exposed to hazards that can cause serious injury or illness. Whether they be chemical, physical, electrical, mechanical, or even radiological hazards, there is PPE for it, and you have the right to be protected from all hazards at all times. The overall goal today is to focus on general safety principles in regards to PPE. We will provide information that will help you to know when to use PPE, and understand which forms of PPE are appropriate for the job that you are doing. We will begin by going over what PPE is, and explaining the purpose it plays in your work environment. We will then talk about the required PPE program, its components and the overall purpose of it. Subsequently, we will cover all the major areas of the body that PPE is made for, and discuss how to select and put on the appropriate gear. We will also explain the limitations that each piece of PPE might have, and cover how to care for and maintain each component, or appropriately dispose of old or damaged PPE. Lastly, we will talk about hazards that are associated with the misuse of PPE, or with not using it at all. We will examine a few real-life case studies and talk about what you can do differently to be safe in the workplace. At the conclusion of this presentation, you should have a better understanding of the need for PPE, as well as a knowledge of how to choose and use the appropriate PPE for your job. On that note, the following is a top 10 list of the most frequently cited standards for 2015. This particular list comes from the United States, but the findings are strikingly similar no matter the country. Regardless, these types of lists are published as a means of alerting the industry about commonly cited standards. The hope then is that you take whatever steps necessary to both find and fix recognized hazards before they become a problem. Interestingly enough, these same hazards show up on similar types of lists time after time. And yet year after year, injuries are sustained and lives are lost. Fall protection and respiratory protection are both types of PPE, and both show up on these lists repeatedly. The goal of training is to prevent these violations from continuing to occur.